Good evening, everybody. Brian Neubert here from goldenblack.com, live in Gainbridge Fieldhouse, which shall not be called Conseco Fieldhouse or Bankers Life Fieldhouse. I'm here following Purdue's 78-50 NCAA tournament win over Grambling State. It is very late at night. I am almost certainly completely incoherent at this point, but this is your wrap video. Thank you to the Purdue Club Hotel for your support once again. As always, we appreciate it very much. I need to go to bed. I need to go to sleep, so I'm going to make this very quick. I've said that many times over the years, and it has gone hilariously sideways on me. So you can probably expect me to be going until about 3 o'clock in the morning here. Anyway, so Purdue wins 78-50. If you were ever nervous about this game, it's just simply PTSD from the last Purdue appearance in the NCAA tournament. I don't think it was ever a reasonable possibility that Purdue was going to be challenged in this game. I just think last year was just something that happened for a variety of reasons, none of which were even remotely possible to repeat themselves in this case, and Purdue ended up winning this game very comfortably, although it did have to really pull away there late in the first half and then completely blow the game open in the second half. I think, obviously Purdue was the butt of a lot of jokes, and that's just kind of what they had to sit in here for the last year. They knew the deal coming into this, and even though no one should be or will be beating their chest over beating a 16 seed as a 1 seed, I do think, is this on straight? I do think that there's probably a little bit of catharsis involved in this for Purdue, and that is the latest at night I've ever pronounced properly the word catharsis. It is 1:21 a.m., and I managed to say the word catharsis cleanly and accurately 3 times. I think that Purdue was good to have Zach Edey. Obviously, this was one of his kind of signature sort of Zach Edey games. I call them monster truck show games. They're kind of what makes him so good, and also probably what makes Purdue, to a certain percentage of the population, a little bit objectionable to watch, where he just gets the ball inside, gets the ball off the backboard, and just destroys everything in his path. It might not be the most aesthetically pleasing basketball all the time, but 11-17, 30 points, 21 rebounds, 9 of them on offense, 11 fouls drawn. I thought he really changed the game defensively to start the second half. This was just a National Player of the Year sort of game, a classic Edey game. Again, Grambling State was no match for Purdue. Nobody's going to beat their chest. Nobody on Purdue is going to beat their chest or should beat their chest over beating a 16 seed in this particular moment. But Zach Edey obviously was the singular difference in this game. Interesting, too, that he and Purdue alike left a lot of points at the foul line in this game. Best, I guess, to get it out of the way now and not later when games are closer, things like that. But that's kind of something Purdue's got to, it's always hard to say they've got to make their free throws, because it's not like they're not trying to make their free throws. But it's been a little bit up and down for Purdue in that regard. They've left a lot of points at the foul line kind of through the course of the season. There have been a bunch of games where Purdue's missed double-digit free throws. That's kind of deceiving. That's kind of dishonest for me to point that out, because when you're shooting 40 and you miss 10, that's 75% shooting. So you go by percentage, they're still there. But when you go by volume, saying they missed 10 free throws is a little bit deceptive as something that factored into an outcome. But obviously Purdue could have probably separated itself a little sooner in this game had they made a few more free throws early. The 1-and-1, for whatever reason, I don't know what kind of bad voodoo Purdue's got going on with the 1-and-1 here, but is there such a thing as good voodoo? I have no idea. Bad voodoo just seems like the only type of voodoo. But Purdue is 0 for 3 on 1-and-1s in the first half, maybe for the game. I can't remember. And that's something that, again, Purdue leaving points on the board there where there could have been points put on the board that would have separated them a little bit sooner than they ended up actually separating themselves. But it doesn't matter anymore. Purdue's been up and down from the foul line, and obviously that's something that, if it gets evened out, that's going to be another huge difference maker for Purdue. But not that big a deal in the big picture here tonight, because Purdue had so much else working for it. I thought really the story of this game was kind of not just Zach Edey being, RoboCop, but Purdue's ability to turn defense into offense. Purdue's ability to kind of choke off a lot of what Grambling was doing with its guards. Purdue didn't do a great job on Grambling's guards, who really exploited some things Purdue does defensively in terms of containing the ball, containing ball screens, getting to the sweet spots that you have to hit against Purdue's drop coverage, kind of things like that. I thought they did a better job in the second half, but I also think when they got to the basket, Zach Edey just made all the difference in the world. He just turned them away, blocked shots, whatever it might have been, and that kind of changed the game. But Purdue really did a good job turning that into offense too, and that was really important for them in this game, and something that really reflects well, especially on Braden Smith, because he's kind of the guy. I think Purdue has really had a hard time here lately not turning the ball right back over, either on turnovers or on defensive stops where they get going too fast and they just kind of throw it away or fumble it. I think it's happened a couple of times to Lance Jones. It's happened once or twice to Fletcher Lawyer. But I think that really reflected well on Braden Smith, who I think is fine. 10 assists and no turnovers in 33 minutes and 40 seconds of play, 11 points, made 3 threes to get Purdue off to a good start. He's fine. I'm going to keep asking about his knee. He's going to keep telling us he's fine, and then he's going to keep playing and answering the question with his play more than he ever will with his words. He's fine. And he was really good tonight. Fletcher Lawyer, I thought, was a huge part of this game, even though he only takes 4 shots, scores 8 points. They were all, first of all, that's 2 points a shot. That's pretty good. But I thought he really helped Purdue close the half strong. I don't have my notes in front of me, nor would I be able to read them if I did. But I think Grambling had it down to like 4 points at one point later-ish in the first half. And that's when Lawyer made 2 threes and then finished on that dribble handoff set they run right before halftime that he's so good at. And that was a great call by Purdue, really playing to his strengths when Purdue probably figured the ball was going, or Grambling probably figured the ball was going inside to E. There was kind of probably a little bit of misdirection involved there. Great call by Purdue, great execution by Lawyer. Just a good game from him on very, very low volume. And that's kind of the misconception about Fletcher Lawyer sometimes. It gets painted as inconsistency, which I guess you could, under the letter of the term, could call it inconsistency when he doesn't score as much one game and then goes off the next. I think it's more a matter of opportunity. When things just kind of come his way, like the ball just finding him off offensive rebounds or whatever it was there in that first half, when he's really good in those situations, that's a guy who's not really a focal point all the time, finding ways to produce, being ready when those opportunities come his way, for lack of a better term, organically. And if you ran 15 plays a game for him, he would be a guy who probably gets you 15 points a game. But that's not his place in the food chain on this Purdue team. This is a ball screen offense now. He fits into that certainly, but this is a ball screen first, Zach Edey second, or reverse, and Zach Edey and the ball screen stuff do overlap some, but everybody else just kind of has to get theirs off of that for the most part, and I think Fletcher Lawyer has really done a good job here, especially to end the season, really making the most of his opportunities. Trey Kaufman-Renn, I thought, was really, really good in this game. Really, really all over the glass in the first half, and that was a big part of this game for Purdue, as it should have been. You don't really look at the total numbers so much as you just look at the game and just how Purdue dominated the defensive glass. I don't know if Grambling was even bothering to try to go to the offensive glass, but Purdue got damn near every defensive rebound. Purdue got a lot of offensive rebounds, 18 of them. Kaufman-Renn was a big part of that, 7 rebounds in 22 minutes. That's pretty good. But then also, you know, Kaufman-Renn is one of those guys on this team. Lawyer's another one that I just got done talking about, where I think they're go-to type of players fitting into roles where they're not necessarily go-to players. And I think when you get them in situations where you just run a bunch of stuff for them and you set them up for success and you set them up to get them scoring opportunities, they're pretty good. And I think Kaufman-Renn, you saw at the end of the game when Edey went out, that's been a little bit of a concern for Purdue lately, is when Edey's off the floor, not as much offensively as defensively, you have a real drop-off. Hey, breaking news. When the best player in the country is not on the floor, Purdue feels it. But I think it's been one of the warts on this team that they've needed to kind of solve. A very small one, because Edey's going to play 30-some minutes as long as he's not in foul trouble. But Edey might get in foul trouble. I think when Edey came out late in the game, you saw Kaufman-Renn slide right into that kind of go-to post guy role, and he wears it well. And that's what you're going to see from him next year. He's going to be the guy who's getting those post touches for Purdue, who they play through, and who's going to be very, very productive doing it. And you saw him score those 7 points late in the game to really slam the door on Grambling here. And that wasn't just go-to guy Trey Kaufman-Renn. That was closer Trey Kaufman-Renn. And that was a really, really strong stretch of play from him. A really good game for him, very quietly. For a guy who was 0 for 4 in the first half, for him to end the way he did, that was a pretty big deal. I think Camden Heide gave him great minutes in his first NCAA tournament game. I think that bears mentioning. You know, a couple things with Kaufman-Renn and Heide. You know, one thing about Purdue is when they committed to Kaufman-Renn being in the starting lineup and playing next to Edey, it was a mechanism with the thought in mind to get as many scoring assets out there as possible, specifically for March, for the NCAA tournament. Purdue has wanted to onboard its athleticism. Obviously, through the course of the season, Camden Heide's athleticism showed up in this game. His defensive versatility showed up in this game. His ability to run the floor, fitting into the context of what I talked about earlier in terms of Purdue really turning defense into offense. He was a big part of that, and just a really, really good performance from Camden Heide in his first NCAA tournament game. So that's kind of what I got here. Big picture, I think anybody who was sweating bullets about this game, I kind of get it, but I think you were barking up the wrong tree. I don't think there's ever any concern about this game. I think this is a very different Purdue team. I think they are very, very determined. I think they are very angry, and I think they're very focused. And I think you will. I don't know what will happen against Utah State here Sunday night, but I would not bet against Purdue in any game they play the rest of this event, especially here in Indy in this last game on Sunday. I think they're going to be really, really they're going to be really good here to start this event off, and we'll have a great chance to get to the second weekend. Obviously, I think that's the general expectation, and I think it should be the expectation. I think I'm talking to myself in circles here, but I think that Purdue's going to show out well against Utah State on Sunday, and kind of go from there, one game at a time, survive in advance, all of that stuff. So it is the NCAA tournament, so I'm obligated to keep my credential to use at least 7 such cliches every single video I do, every single story I write. So I've met my requirement. So that's what I got here from Gainbridge Fieldhouse and the NCAA tournament following Purdue's 78-50 win over Grambling State. This is Brian Neubert from goldenblack.com. Thank you to the Purdue Club Hotel for your support as always. Thank you for watching. Thank you for reading. And thank you for, which one did I forget? Listening. Which verb did I forget? Listening. And thank you for processing our materials, however it is you process our materials. And Carmen and I will be here all day tomorrow, in this case today. Let's call it Saturday. How about that? Mike and I will be here all day Saturday for Purdue's media availability, Utah State's media availability, and we will have lots of coverage here from Indy tomorrow, and then obviously full coverage on Sunday night when Purdue plays Utah State. So if you've not signed up for our site yet, if you've not joined goldenblack.com, please understand we do have a business outside of YouTube, and Twitter and whatnot. And if you've been degenerate enough to watch this for 15 minutes, you're probably degenerate enough to fit right into our community, full of degenerates. So please keep that in mind. Go to goldenblack.com, check us out, and we think you won't be disappointed. We don't think you will be disappointed. That's much more proper English. So thank you, everybody.